This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Let your imagination take flight with an AI-powered PC from Lenovo. Whether it's creating digital art, designing new software, or building a portfolio for a future career, our PCs are powered by Intel Core Ultra processors to help students unlock smarter learning and unleash their creativity. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. All you have to do is choose the one that fits your passion. Head to Lenovo.com to shop AI PCs and find your perfect companion. Plus, get 5% off when you create an education account.
And here we have a specimen from the early 2000s, a legacy investing platform. Please don't touch the exhibit, folks. It could crash.
Ready to step out of the financial history museum? At Public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind. Go to Public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at Public.com/disclosures.
Get ready to rock. Incubus is bringing their Morning View plus the Hits Tour to Treasure Island Amphitheater on Saturday, July 5th. Experience the magic of their double platinum album and smash hits like Drive and Wish You Were Here live. Don't miss this epic night. Get all the details at TICasino.com.
What's it again? Incubus?
Incubus.
With their new album, Incubate. Incubus. See them live at TI. Double 13-14 pass. Did I see this right? Your guy, Connor McDavid, who I've insisted is overrated.
Yeah.
I've even started a chant. Connor McDavid
is overrated.
Did he score his first goal of the Stanley Cup Finals the other night? That's his first goal. What up with that, Tenneby? As the kid would say. Well, they probably don't say that anymore, but I know they did for a while. What up with that?
I think
is Florida? Are they keen on him? Is that what this is?
Every team does key in on him. Right. That's not a shock to him, but not everyone. You can still key in on him and not have the personnel to. I think Florida's goaltender Sergei Bobrovsky is one of the best big game goaltenders in all of the world. And Florida, I think specifically, has done a pretty good job killing penalties. And that's not that McDavid can't beat you 5-on-5, because he truly can with his speed. But the biggest thing with McDavid is not letting him get a full head of speed on the rush and avoiding power plays as best you can. And, in Game 5, they were even talking about the announcers about, man, they're kind of letting them play a little bit more physical in this game, and that's an advantage to Florida, right? If you're not calling as many penalties, you're letting them get away with a little bit more banging bodies and clutching and grabbing and not calling penalties for it. That's advantage Florida. So I am curious to see in Game 6 whether that officiating would change back at all. But not as many power plays for Edmonton, and then once Edmonton is on the power play, Florida, they played a series against them last year in the Stanley Cup Final, so they know their personnel pretty well at this point.
Is that tomorrow at Edmonton's place?
I think it's actually in Florida because it started.
That's
in Edmonton.
right. Edmonton had the home ice advantage. Do you think you feel good about Florida's chances then up 3-2 with a home game tomorrow night?
I think they're pretty close and equal teams, but I mean, I already mentioned Florida's got the goaltending edge.
Yeah.
That's where they have the biggest edge. Edmonton's been kind of doing a little bit of rotation going on now. And as long as Brad Marchand's playing at that level that he's just him and Bennett, it seems like they're scoring every single game. They are just playing at an insane level. And the 2 goals Marchand had the other night were both big time goals. So I'm getting the Florida vibe. We saw it. What game was it earlier in the series where I think it was when Edmonton, I think it was game 3 when they went down 2-1 and they were cheap shotting Florida and getting in fights. To me, even though they won the next game, that was a signal to me that maybe mentally and psychologically they are not where they need to be compared to where Florida is. And so far that has played out a little bit here through 5 games.
I need you to educate me here on the National Hockey, because I'm not part of the hockey community or the basketball community. I'm really not a part of any community. I know what the Hart Trophy is, and I know what the Conn Smythe is. What's the Selke Trophy? Is that what's called?
Selke's for basically like the best defensive forward.
And that would be Alexander Barkov.
Barkov for Florida, yeah.
And Alexander Barkov.
He matches up against McDavid, yeah.
Against Connor. McDavid is overrated. So
well, I've always said,
in other words, defense right now, at least in that matchup, defense is winning over offense. Sounds like it to me.
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of goals in this series overall. Okay.
But I mean, the best defender in the league against the best, Connor McDavid's the best offensive player.
He is, right? Yes, there's no doubt.
It sounds like the better, and again, it's not just it's not like one-on-one like you're playing tennis, right? I know it's a team sport, but it sounds like defense wins championships to me.
Well, I'm gonna repeat something I've said on these airwaves before.
Okay.
That, as laughable as it might seem, the Minnesota Wild have had as much success against Connor McDavid as any team, at least in the regular season. We're clearly not seeing them in the playoffs. But in the regular season, because one is they have a Barkov-like center and Joel Eriksson-Ek, very comparable players. And the Wild's defensemen, while you could argue when they get in the playoffs, they hurt you from a physical standpoint and struggle against bigger, stronger teams. They fare well against speed-type players like Connor McDavid. Like Jonas Brodin is as versatile from a skating standpoint as any defenseman in the league. Spurgeon's always a good skater.
He's in the same ballpark as you. And
very similar. Yeah. Brock Faber's a good skater. So, like those types of players, like the Wild have actually defended McDavid. You can't shut him down, but compared to his scoring against other teams, the Wild have fared well against him.
Here's another one for you. This story is probably as famous as Rosen's World Series picture. Remember when he was 11 years old? That famous...
Infamous,
Mark Rosen said it on this radio station. He said, that famous picture of me at the World Series when he was 11 years old is famous, okay?
I'm surprised when you go to the Mall of America, they don't have like a plaque of, here's where Mark Rosen was when this infamous picture was taken.
Next to where the home plate plaque is.
Yes.
At MOA. And you know what? I will not rest until that's done. But another story that is just as famous is, this was back in the Chad and Barrero days. And we were talking about Michael Jordan. And they were idolizing and pedestalizing Jordan. I always thought Jordan was a little overrated myself, but that's just me. And I said, well, I know how you can stop Jordan. And they go, oh, how's that, common man? I said, deny him the ball. And they laughed uproariously and mocked and ridiculed me for an extended period of time. Then it wasn't that long afterwards where Sam Mitchell shut down Dirk Nowitzki. And they asked him on air, how'd you shut down Dirk? And they said, well, I denied him the ball. And they didn't laugh at Sam. Can the same thing be said hockey? Can you deny McDavid the puck, or is that just impossible to do? Can you limit his touches, or in the game of hockey, is it too hard to limit?
I mean,
because in basketball, you're never going to get a guy never to get the ball, but you can, if you cover him like a blanket, it's harder for a team to get. There are going to be times they go, he's covered, got to go somewhere else. And possessions are only 24 seconds long. So you got to move the ball around. You can't just wait for him to get open in basketball.
I mean, you technically could, but it would throw off your entire way you defend, that I don't know if the rest of the team would be able to adjust to it. And it would be too much of an overhaul, right? Like you could say, the Wild could say, hey, Joel Eriksson-Ek, you are going to shadow Connor McDavid. Wherever Connor McDavid is skating on the ice, you are just going to follow him and just be attached at the hip. Well, he might now be putting you in a certain spot where players are out of position, or you're now taking away from your ability to play offense because you're now trying to play offense with 4 guys instead of 5 because he's not even attempting to play offense. He's just following McDavid all around. So it's a little more complicated, but should you always know where he is on the ice? Yes.
Right, knowing where he is on the ice. But yeah. Well, I mean, it happens.
Or playing a little bit more conservatively, right? You're making sure you're on this side of Connor McDavid as opposed to, hey, I might take a chance to try to get some offense here. But if I make a mistake, that could end up in an odd man rush the other way, and I'm just going to stay on this side of him, on the defensive side of him.
Well, you see it happen in all sports at every level. I remember when Jiggy Trot, Trey Holloman, played for Cretin-Durham Hall, and he had a 25-point game at Joe Mauer Gymnasium, named after Joe. And as I'm driving home with baby brother Peter, I said, I think this Holloman guy's overrated. And Pete goes, well, you're a casual. I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, we dictate everything we do around him. We don't run our offense on his side of the floor. He's too good defensively. We double team him. We do this. Everything. He's the main thing.
Centered around him.
Yeah, it's centered around him. And you see it in all sports tend to be, right? I mean, like even in baseball, we're not pitching to him. We're going to give him an intentional walk. Mm-hmm. There's men on first and second. There's one out. He's too good. We are going to let him go to first. That's less damage. You see it in football.
Bracket coverage. On JJ.
On JJ, you see it all the time. How many times if you've got a fierce pass rushing Rock of Gibraltar run stopping defensive lineman, well, they'll double up on him, right? He creates too much havoc. We will put too much, or we'll keep a running back in the backfield so that if he beats his guy, which he's probably going to do 3 out of every 4 times, at least we can pick up another half second or a second of help by the running back chipping on him, I think is what we used to call it back in the day. A break, we'll come back. It's controversial. It's controversial and fast-paced. It's the Common Man program here on The Fan.
Unlock smarter learning with Lenovo AI-powered PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors. Head to Lenovo.com and choose from multiple devices to fit your passions. If you're a gamer, you can spend less time stressing about GPUs and CPUs and more time dominating with your AI-enabled Smart Engine, which optimizes your game performance in real time. Or maybe you're a scientist on the verge of a groundbreaking discovery and need a device with a longer battery life and AI-enhanced tools to give you extra time to finish your research. Or you're a musician preparing for your biggest break and need better, faster AI tools to make digital art a breeze, like creating band posters and t-shirt designs. Or you're a soon-to-be graduate needing to catch a recruiter's eye to land that dream job, so you need cutting-edge smart tools to build your portfolio from scratch. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. Plus, college students and teachers get 5% off with an education account on Lenovo.com. A better future is waiting, and it needs you.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/iHeart.
And here we have a specimen from the early 2000s, a legacy investing platform. Please don't touch the exhibit, folks. It could crash.
Ready to step out of the financial history museum? At public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind. Go to public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at public.com/disclosures.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather, now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Head back to the 50s at the Minnesota Street Rod Association event June 20th through the 22nd at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. Enjoy the classic car marketplace, T6 flyover, the great race, cruising art craft fair, and so much more. Head over to our contest page for your shot at a pair of tickets. That's KFAN.com, keyword contest to enter.
Like, hello.
I had someone's asking here on the Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line at 64686. What was for lunch today? I had leftover mini meatloaves that my wife makes with leftover garlic mashed potatoes, and I'm having an orange. Orange a day keeps Anita Bryant away, so I'm having that. Another person asks, Common, did you finish program password? And if so, who won? We did not. We have the championship coming up. Matter of fact, we just had the promo for it. Tend to be Red Liner, I believe. Or maybe it was a pre-recorded liner from Diego. But it is this Friday. It's the Broad Squad. The Broads are back. It's Lil B and Arnie Gellner will be taking on a very formidable team of the maestro of the mornings, Power Trip morning shows, Corey Cove, and the afternoons, tasteless box of mashed potatoes. Justin Guard. Tell me, what Power Trip bets? I know they always throw out odds. Do you remember what they were? I believe.
I thought Cove and Guardsy were favored. I
think the bad guys have been favored. Though I will tell you that you know as well as I do, tend to be a little B, as much as our audience loves her. There are critics. There are those that we all have our critics at large, right? They're just out there because she's very opinionated, and so there are those I think that would root against that duo. But I think I make no bones about it. I'm on the Broad Squad. I'd love to see Lil B, and because I do think, as good as they are, I do think JG and Cove are very good, and so I think it's going to be a good match. I'm not ready to pick anybody, but I'm certainly hoping the Broad Squad. Did you find those out?
Just found it. Corey Cove and Guardsy favored by 12.5 over Marnie and Lil B.
So that mean if it went to exactly 80, they think the final score would be 80 to
67.5.
Yeah. Okay. I know that you are the MC, or you're the what would be your job title?
Host.
The host of Program Password, and you are an unbiased observer. Of course, that's never stopped us from weighing in on things before. Who do you like in that matchup? Or would you rather not say?
The seeding committee, myself, had them as the top two seeds, looked at them as the two best teams going in, so that has played out up until this point. The thing with Cove and Guardsy was you thought they might have chemistry because they're both around the same age, same generation. Both have won a ship in the PPI. Mm-hmm. But you never really know. I don't know how much they interact with each other. I'm sure they get along when they see each other, but one's on the air 5:30 to 9 and the other's on the air 3 to 6:30. So it's not like they see each other a lot. I don't know if they text and talk more than most people know. So it was hard to know whether there would be chemistry. You suspected there might be just because they're, like I said, in the same generation. But, they seem to even play better in their second game than they did the first game. So I think they've gotten to the point now where they felt each other out. They get a feel for how the other teammate plays. And they're both pretty darn good. So I do think it's going to be a challenge for Lobie and Marnie. But on the other hand, those two, we know they have chemistry. And you could argue maybe they haven't had the most difficult competition so far in this tournament, but they've absolutely just steamrolled teams. I mean, Moss and Fallness got, 8 points against them? And then the team they played in the second round, Rosie and Creasel, they get maybe 30? So they are just absolutely just demolishing their competition up until this point. So it might just be their year. They're due.
Yeah, I think they might be due. I think it's I think it'll be
a good matchup. I think it's going to go down to the wire.
I think it might be nothing's going to stop us now. This text message came in regarding the Open Championship, and it's good because I did. I thought it was a turning point in the tournament for Sammy Burns. It says, Common, what was your opinion about Burns not getting relief because of water? Have you heard about the controversy, Teneby, or have you?
I did not watch it live. I did see how the water looked under the ball when I saw him doing practice swings. And I saw the flight of the ball did not go too well after he hit it.
Relief is permitted if a player's ball or stance is impacted by a number of conditions. That would be abnormal course conditions, animal holes, ground under repair, immovable obstructions, or temporary water. In other words, not a water hazard, not a wetland, not a marsh, or even in some cases a swamp. If there's standing water, I always thought the rule was for when you're able to move, like if you're standing, addressing the ball, tend to be, and the water comes up, the sole of your shoes?
Yeah.
If it comes up over that, then you're allowed to move it. I don't know what determines it. Sam Burns asked for a ruling. His ball was right next to that first cut of rough. And he asked for a ruling. And the guy said, I can't give it to you. He called for a second ruling. And
he wanted a second opinion.
A second opinion. And that second opinion also said no relief. He then, he was denied the free drop. He was bitter. He caught the shot fat, and the ball found the thick, rough, short and left of the green. The TV mics caught him saying, that's ridiculous. I did think after, it was hard to tell when he was asking for it how bad it is because you're not there. But when you saw, when most of these players, when they were hitting out of the fairway, you were seeing a little bit of water spray. But this one seemed a bit more than, I don't know if he should have got really. Obviously, he felt he should have. I think a lot of other people did as well. I don't think it was just Sam Burns. I think spectators, commentators, other people thought he probably should have got relief. And that was it for him. He made double bogey and he was donezo. And he was in control of the tournament for most of, final round. He had the one-shot lead. He was, I don't recall. That leaderboard changed so much. He was either in the lead or tied for the lead or only one out of the lead at most. I think he might have still been in the lead at that point. And that was it for him. What I'd wondered, I've looked for comments and I've not seen any. And maybe if somebody else did hear or see comments from Burns post round. I know the cameras caught him saying that's ridiculous, but I don't know if he complained about it afterwards because I would have been annoyed by it too. But I didn't see any other players when asking for relief if they were able to get it. I don't recall seeing one. I'm sure there was probably one. Did you see on the highlight Hovland's second shot on first hole? He blocks it right, hits cart path and bounces out of play. So he hits a provisional out in the middle of the fairway, right? He finds his ball in there, and he's able to take the 2 clubs, which gets him onto the cart. He had to hit off cart path and mud, and he hit a brilliant golf shot that he got a little luck, too, because it looked like it was cutting right a little bit, and it just caught the limb of a tree, and then it kicked left back into the fairway and then rolled down just short of the green. He got up and down for bogey. I mean, he ended up not winning the event, obviously, but that looked like it had disaster written all over it, and yet he was able to manufacture a bogey out of that. Our final break of the Grum. Tend to be a coach that I'm proud of. Basketball coach. And I'll explain other side of the break. Common Man program on the Fan.
Are you shopping for a new laptop while still trying to keep up with technology and AI? Talk about feeling burnt out. But no more. Lenovo.com makes it easier than ever to find the perfect PC. In fact, we'll break it down for you. Step 1. Shop our lineup of AI PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors. Because why deal with downloading new software when you can buy a smarter PC that already comes with all of the AI features and tools? Step 2. Find the one that fits your passion. Whether you're a creative genius, a research scientist, a hardcore gamer, or a future CEO, no dream is too big. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. You can keep up with your ideas as well as any challenges you may face. Step 3. Add to cart and purchase. Oh, if you're a college student or a teacher, make an education account through us and get 5% off your whole order. Shop now at Lenovo.com. A better future is waiting, and it needs you.
And here we have a specimen from the early 2000s, a legacy investing platform. Please don't touch the exhibit, folks. It could crash.
Ready to step out of the financial history museum? At Public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind. Go to Public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at Public.com/disclosures.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Ooh. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Past final segment of the Grum today. Mark Rosen will join us just before 2. We'll get his thoughts on a little of this, a little of that, with the emphasis on the lad. Big ticket JG waiting in the wings there next. Uninformed, unprepared, and unapologetic is what you've been listening to for 2.5 hours. Following this, it's professional, poised, and polished. A couple of text messages I want to get to before we wrap up with my final topic of the day. This one says, and Teneby, this would be directed at you because you're the one that extends the invitations. It says, I think you guys should extend an invitation to Jet and Jethro to the Program Password Invitational next year. They have some serious chemistry and could be a force to be reckoned with, more so than Falmouth's team. Do you think Jet and Jethro, schedules might not work out, but I would think they would be, they have a great chemistry. Yeah, they do. They got great chemistry. That would be a good club. This next one says, what would Common shoot at Oakmont? I couldn't break 100.
No.
I mean, if you're talking about playing their tees, especially in the way they have it set up this weekend, not a chance. I'm having trouble. I was thinking about this today. I'm playing 6,400 yards at Prestwick today. And by the way, I did shoot a 77 today. Thank you. I have to hit hybrid into a lot of the par fours now more than I ever have. If I just hit an okay drive, I have to hit a hybrid into the green on 2. I always do on 5. Most of the time on 7. A lot of the time on 10. A lot of the time on 11. 13 and 15. That's 7 where I'm hitting a hybrid. Now, hybrids, if you hit them properly, are a wonderful golf club. Do you play a hybrid?
I do not.
Oh, I just love them. They if you hit it properly, they go really high. They land really soft. But they were playing at Oakmont. Was it 74, 76? I don't know exactly how far it was, but that course is just the fairways are like as wide as a sidewalk. I mean, it's just impossible. There's no way. I'm not foolish.
And you can't get out of that grass.
No, there's no way you can get out of that grass. You get into that rough, I don't have the strength to get out. Did you see how...
We would have some double-digit holes scores.
Oh, absolutely.
Out there.
Yeah, there's no question about that. My question is, and I know that for regular membership play, now that the U.S. Open's over, they'll cut the rough back down. I'm assuming they widen the fairway some. I don't think they keep them that narrow for the regular membership. And I don't think the greens are running at 15 and a half. But I always wonder, does the average member at Oakmont, they must like it so difficult. I like scoring myself. I don't like having to work because I'm not very good to begin with. And I don't want to shoot 98, 93, 88. I like to be at a course that's challenging, but still where, I don't feel like, I can't make a bad shot here because I'm going to make a double. But I think a lot of people like that.
I feel like, and I'm talking about professionals now, not the two of us.
Okay.
And I'm not going out on a limb here to say that I think Augusta has it figured out. But Augusta, to me, has the best combination of you're not going to shoot minus 23 like at the Greater Greensboro Open.
Right.
But you can also score there. To me, there's a lot of holes that have a good risk-reward element where, if you hit a really great shot, you can eagle this hole.
Yeah, correct.
You can also get yourself in a spot where you're going to bogey this hole or double it.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of movement on the leaderboard. I think it's a great balance of challenging, yet you can score it at the same time.
Absolutely. You're a great golf mind. I think you've analyzed it exactly right. I did, by the way.
I don't even watch. I mean, U.S. Open has now gone to last on my list.
Yeah.
I used to it's great to see them struggle like the average golfer. And now I've seen it so much, it was just at another ridiculous level. We're I don't really enjoy it.
Yeah.
You want to see them making shots. It's okay to watch them struggle occasionally, but you also want to see them making shots.
Well,
when it's just purely struggling.
I had that debate with several people off air at T Degree and with other friends of mine that they love the way it is. And I'm like, I do like it difficult. That's why I said I liked it better on Saturday because even with as much rain as they got, the green, they still cut down the rough. They got a lot. Even with all the rain they got and cutting down the rough, they still had trouble scoring. No one all of a sudden went on the weekend when they slowed the greens down slightly. The rain softened the greens. They cut that rough because they started at almost 5.5 inches. I'm sure after the first 2 rounds, it was up to 6, maybe more. I don't know. They cut it back down. Even though it played softer and it still played difficult, nobody went out there and shot on Saturday, was it Burns? Who shot 5 under? Was it Burns? Somebody shot 5. I think it was Burns, shot 5 under. And that was just an incredible score. That's only 5 under. Nobody else was matching anything like that. So I'm with you. I think sometimes it's a bit too ridiculous. I did find the quote. I looked it up on my handheld computer, which doubles as a communication device, from Sammy Burns post-round after he was not once but twice denied relief from what he thought was some standing water. He he was pretty diplomatic about it, Tinneby. Here's what the quote is. That's kind of the low part of the fairway there. When I walked into it, clearly you could see water coming up. Took practice swings, and it's just water splashing every single time. Called the rules official over. They disagreed. I looked at it again. I thought maybe I should get a second opinion. That rules official also disagreed. At the end of the day, it's not up to me. It's up to the rules officials. That's kind of that. That is pretty diplomatic, because he could have said, it's a joke, cost me a chance at winning the U.S. Open. But he didn't. He handled it rather diplomatically. Speaking of complaining, Tinneby, we've been discussing basketball more on this program in the late spring, early summer, the last 2 years than ever, because the Wolves have been so successful. 2 Western Conference Finals appearances, watching more basketball. And I've stated this on a couple of occasions. I think the basketball's flaw, the biggest problem with it is refereeing a game. Every fan, every player complains about the officiating.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of the Wolves, you think that SGA is always floppy. He never gets contact. He's what is the nickname they were calling him? The purveyor of positivity? No, merchant.
Yeah. Free throw merchant.
Free throw merchant, right? And if you're a Wolves fan and you think Ant gets fouled when he misses shots, and Ant's never committed a foul, and not just Wolves fans, all fans everywhere, and it's my opinion, and I've stated this on a couple of occasions, basketball is the toughest game to officiate. 94 feet of court, you got 10 guys, it's fast-paced, it's physical. Someone chided me about, there can be marginal contact. Well, who determines marginal contact? There's a gray area there. So and there always will be missed calls. There will be calls there will be plays where a foul should have been called and it wasn't. There are plays that there shouldn't have been a foul called and there is, and that's just the way it goes. Did you see Pacers coach Rick Carlisle? He actually came to the defense of Scott Foster, one of the officials. Headline, Pacers coach Rick Carlisle offers defense of Scott Foster after referee receives criticism in Game 4. We use Tim Reynolds' piece as often. He writes basketball for Associated Press. Dateline Oklahoma City says, Indiana coach Rick Carlisle offered an impassioned and somewhat unprompted defense of referee Scott Foster Sunday, evidently aware of the mountains of online criticism that came after Game 4 of the NBA Finals. It says Foster was one of the 3 on-court referees assigned to Game 4, which had more fouls called and more free throws awarded than any of the 3 previous games in the series. Foster, who has long been a lightning rod for critics, did not work any of those first 3 games. Carlisle said, I think it's awful, some of the things I've seen about the officiating, and Scott Foster in particular. I've known Scott Foster for 30 years. He's a great official. He's done a great job in these playoffs. We've had him a lot of times. Story goes on to say, Foster called 23 personal fouls in the game, 12 on Oklahoma City, 11 on Indiana, with 1 flagrant on each as well. He also issued double technicals, one going to Indiana's Obi Toppin, the other to Oklahoma City's Isaiah Hartenstein. Friday was Foster's 26th finals game work, more than any other active referee. He's also worked 262 playoff games, again, the most among active refs. But whenever Foster does a game, online critics tend to weigh in almost from the moment that the league announces the crews for a given night.
Yes.
The league does not reveal its ranking system for referees, but Foster, having worked 18 finals, makes clear that he's traditionally one of the highest rated in the league. And it should be noted that Carlisle was the losing coach in Game 4, yet still felt compelled to defend Foster's work. Carlisle said, the ridiculous scrutiny that's being thrown out there is terrible and unfair and unjust and stupid. I love what he had to say. Now, I know the cynics would say, well, he's just saying that now to get Scott Foster on his side for if Scott Foster's in Game 6 or Game 7. I don't believe that. I don't think that's why Carlisle's doing it. I think he is And I don't know. Maybe Carlisle maybe he complains about officiating all the time. Maybe he works the refs it seems like a coach's job. The number one priority or the number one role of a head coach is to work the referees. It seems like that's all. I see it on every level. Work the referees, complain about every call. And I don't know if that does you any good. It must. Either the coach just needs to vent, or he feels that he is influencing the referee for calls later on in the game. I would hope a referee isn't influenced by that, where it's like, man, maybe he's right. I've called a few on his team. Maybe I should watch it. Maybe I better do a makeup call here. Maybe it happens. I don't know. I would hope referees don't do that. There might be some that do. I would think most aren't influenced by that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of those referees, they like the power that they wield, man. They've got the final say. And it's like, there was a game earlier with a younger ref. The Wolves were involved. I don't remember the exact circumstances, but he got real quick on calling a technical. And I think, matter of fact, was that the game didn't Finchy get tossed from a game? And I think a lot of people thought, well, this ref was being he's not experienced enough, and he got the quick hook. And I suppose that can happen as well. I don't think the referees are completely blameless. I just don't think referees are intentionally calling fouls against particular teams when they're not there. That they go, there was no foul here, but I'm calling one. And do they miss them? Sure they do. Is it frustrating? Yeah. But when you got a guy like Rick Carlisle that just says, I think this guy's really good. And when you look at how often he's refereed, I think the league must like what he does. Tend to be your thoughts.
I agree with you that the vast majority of officials in every single sport at every single level don't have a rooting interest and aren't trying to screw over one of the teams, right?
Correct.
That being said, the approach Carlisle took, and this might not have been his intention, as you mentioned, but I don't know why they don't give more glowing reviews to the referees, right? Like, just from if a referee was to if they are human beings, which they are, and they were to let kind of the emotions come in every once in a while, don't you think they'd rather hear the good stuff than the best? Like, I've never understood, I'm going back to my sport in hockey. Before the teams jump on the ice, the referees always go out there first and take a couple laps and warm up. And you'll see it at XL Energy Center. The second they go on the ice, fans are booing. And I've never understood that. I'm like, we should actually be doing the opposite. We should be, even if it comes off as just doing like the fake suck-up thing, like we should just immediately give them a standing ovation, cheer for them. You don't boo them until they give you a call that you didn't like, but try to butter them up while you can. And Carlisle, you think Foster's not going to know that next time they're in a game? No, I'm not saying Foster would change his calls based on it, but is there a 1% chance in a game?
Could be, yeah.
You might remember that time he got buttered up by Rick Carlisle, and he has a lot better feelings about the Indiana Pacers when he refs those games. I think that's possible. So why don't these coaches and fans butter up referees more than just hate on them?
That might be the best way to go about it. You'd be
different, unique than every other fan base in the entire country.
Yeah, while that might have been his intention, I still think what it was.
Let's just speaking the truth.
Well, not just speaking the truth, but also in defense, because as we know, you know how it is online when people now have a forum where they, I mean, every person before was only guys like me and you that had a talk show. And that was, you either had a talk show.
Or someone in a newspaper.
Or a newspaper.
Columnist.
And the only way if you were just somebody that was not in the media, the only way you could really voice your opinion was a letter to the editor or call up a sports talk show.
Or at the game.
Yes, yeah. But that was it. And now you can throw out all, and I'm not even saying it's a bad thing. I mean, I think for me, it doesn't do it. I don't follow anybody on Twitter. I don't participate in online stuff. I'll occasionally write in the comments section, be the Athletic or the Fish Wrap, I'll throw in, when I see the duckies and bunnies out in mass, I might throw in a little bit of, let's slow down on this a little bit. But generally, I don't participate in any of it. And it's all right that people have a forum. But it can get very ugly and vicious because there's no filters. It's not like with the FCC, there are certain things you can and cannot say because they are public airwaves. The World Wide Web, internet, whatever we call it, I think you can say whatever you want. There's no holds barred at all. I mean, you can get banned.
Depending on the company, you can get banned.
Yes,
but
you can get banned. But
even then, it doesn't seem like they are
exactly
much of a stronghold on as they once were.
So I think he was also, and I don't know what they're saying about Scott. I bet it does get vicious. I bet it gets nasty.
I've seen it on my Twitter feed. I follow someone who calls him the extender, that the NBA just brings him in to extend series, right? When it's 2-1 in favor of one team, let's get the extender in to make sure we get a game 6 and a game 7 out of this. Like they've said that all playoff. But the other part of this too with Carlisle is not only are you buttering up Scott Foster potentially in the future, and I'm not saying that was his intention because I don't think it was. The other referee crews are going, oh, that coach is pretty nice over there in Indiana. So even when it's not a Scott Foster game, they might get some warm, fuzzy feelings.
What if the fouls in the next game are just in favor of Carlisle's club, like 3-1?
Then you say it was a brilliant move by him, and more coaches and fan bases should do it.
Here's what it says. A couple of people have brought up Tim. Is it pronounced Donaghy? Is that how we say
he was the one who was doing the gambling.
Correct.
Yeah. Betting on games.
Yeah. Ever heard of Tim Donaghy? Don't be naive comment. What does that have to do with what we're talking about? That was a guy who was being influenced with, he was betting on games or being paid to make certain calls. That certainly has happened.
There's exceptions to every rule.
Yeah, there's nothing to do with what we're
generally speaking.
I don't think, what's his name, Scott Foster?
Yeah.
I think he's calling him as he sees him. I told you when I would go to Baby Brother Peter's games, and I wouldn't do it at high school, but every travel game and every AAU game, without fail, 99 out of 100 games, I'd go down to the referees after the game and say, great job, guys, even if it wasn't a great job. Why? Because all they hear is criticism. I'm the Rick Carlisle of basketball dads. I'm the Rick Carlisle of basketball dads. I always complimented the referees. They're not paid squat. All they do is receive complaints. No one ever says, great call, ref. I guess they do if it favors their team, but I mean, no one ever.
My favorite is, now that I've been going to 10-year-old and 8-year-old baseball games, the coaches on other teams that try to influence the call before the call is actually made by the umpire, right? The pitch comes across and good pitch, before you even get a chance to say ball or strike, where they're trying to influence the umpire into making the call that benefits their team.
Is positive an impact youth sports can have on kids? It really can. Timmy, you grew up playing sports. I did. Your kids, my kids. There are some. There's some real negative.
Yeah, it's not all great.
And most of it is parent behavior. I would say that's number one on the list. Would you? Parent, and not all parents. It's not every single. It's just those handful that they get too wrapped up in it. Man, you gotta calm down, relax. Enjoy the season.
Trying to influence the calls of a 13-year-old umpire.
Exactly. And last thing I'll say, Tennessee, if your team is having trouble, you need to start winning before you can stop losing. That's what I'll tell you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Great advice.
Thanks for having me, by the way.
Hey, great job.
You as well. We're back tomorrow at 12 noon. Big Ticket, JG, they're next here on The Fan.
Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon. And good night, Minnesota.
Good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
Want to feel more creative but don't have the right laptop? Lenovo.com can help. Look through our legendary lineup of AI-powered PCs and devices and find the one that fits your passion. Our PCs, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, as well as cutting-edge AI tools, allow students to focus, learn, and create with ease. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. Plus, college students and teachers can get 5% off their order. Shop now on Lenovo.com. The future's waiting, and it needs you.
You know what's great about your investment account with the big guys? It's actually a time machine. Log in and zoom. Welcome back to 1999. It's time for an upgrade. At Public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind at Public.com. Go to Public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at Public.com/disclosures.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com, ODOO.com.
Saks Off 5th, up to 70% off every day. Summer is in full swing here at Saks Off 5th with so many exciting trends to try. From matching sets and floral dresses to wide leg jeans and chic accessories, find all of this season's must-have styles. Plus, shop new designer arrivals weekly. Find Gucci, Valentino Garavani, Versace, Stuart Weitzman, and more. Head to SaksOff5th.com or a Saks Off 5th store near you for up to 70% off every day.